because there was some times I didn't want to be kept. Okay, I was ready to give it all. I was ready to let it go. Okay, I was like, I don't care about no celibacy, abstinence journey. I'm finna get me some. Hey guys, it's Janicia and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to go into more detail about my 12-year celibacy journey. Now, you may be thinking, holy crap, that was a long time. It was a long time. And so let me specify what I mean. I was celibate for a total of 12 years. Now, I did not have penetration intercourse in those 12 years, but I did slip up. In my heart, I broke my celibacy because I was not completely pure the entire 12 years. Like I said, the first 8 years, clean as a whistle. Okay? I didn't have no problems. I was living my best life. I wasn't kissing, touching, feeling nothing. Nothing. And then at the year 8 mark, I met this guy at this time in my life where I was going through it. I was in severe depression. I had just moved to a new city. Money was looking funny. Just all kind of things was happening. And when I say depressed, I mean I was depressed, okay? And I met this guy and I grew very close to him very quickly. I was not interested in being in a relationship with him, but we remained as friends. And then one thing led to another and some things happened. We did not have penetration sex, but we was right on that line, okay? We was right on that line. And I remember feeling pretty disgusted at myself. Because like I said, the whole 8 years I was doing great. And then I was like, what in the world? Like, I don't know what happened. Like I said, my guards was down. I was not talking to God, really. I was not praying. I was not reading my word. I was not going to church. I was just, I would say, I guess, backslidden. And that was the icing on the cake. I still had some fight in me because I was like, no, I'm not letting go. Like, I just refused to have sex with him. I don't know. I just could not let it go. I was like, no, I made a promise. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Even though I'm doing everything else. But I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And then I would go in and out of talking to him, of feeling like horrible, guilty, cutting it off. Then still sad, still not really talking to God, right back talking to him. Cut it off, right back to fooling around. I did this on and off for a bit. And then eventually I just cut it off and I went back to being celibate, abstinent entirely. Like in every aspect of the word, not just in definition, but in purity of my heart, abstinent before the Lord. And it's funny because I thought that I was super, super strong because I was able to do it for so long. 8 years, no slip ups, no nothing. I thought that I was good to go. Like I was living on my own merit. Like I was doing this out of my own strength. I'm like, I'm good. Like I done made it this long. Like no man is about to get me to do nothing. I had this pride about myself. I had a pride about my abstinence. It was no longer something I was doing purely out of obedience to God, for my love of God, for wanting to serve him with every part of my life. And it became just something I was doing as like a trophy or world record that I was, competing for. I was doing it out of my own strength to be this super Christian, I would say. So that is kind of my mindset going into meeting him was, I'm a super Christian. I don't have sex. I don't kiss. I don't touch. I don't let nobody do this or that to me. I don't do this or that to anybody. Like I was very prideful about my abstinence. I know what I was doing was abstinence, but celibacy is a more well-known word. And so when I'm saying something, a lot of times I just say celibate because more people kind of identify, really know what I'm talking about. It's a more popular word. I say celibacy, abstinence interchangeably. I know they are different things, but I just use them one and the same. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. So after rekindling my heart back to God, returning to God, getting pulled out of that depression, all of the stuff that I was, my whole mindset, everything, I recommitted myself back to full abstinent. Not in the definition of it, because I believe by definition I was abstinent majority of the time. But in my heart and purity, what me and that guy was doing was not something I would do in front of Jesus Christ if he was in the room. Okay, we was a little bit too hot and heavy. So for myself, I was abstinent, but I was not pure the entire time. I did mess up. And then fast forward, I'm living life, everything is good. I move again, and I'm just in love with Jesus, everything is good. And then I meet my husband. And I did not tell him I was abstinent. I don't know, probably until a couple months in did I tell him that I was abstinent. I'm sure he kind of got the clue, but we didn't talk about sex at all. We talked about life, we talked about politics, we talked about God, we talked about a lot of things, but we did not talk about sex because we wasn't having it. We weren't close to doing it. We just stayed away from talking about it. And we were good. We were good when it was getting a little too hot and heavy. Knew what boundaries to cross and not cross. There was one particular day that, similar to the previous man, we did cross a boundary. There was no penetration, but it was other things going on in which I was not pleased with. So though until my wedding night, me and my husband did not have intercourse, other things did happen one particular day. I immediately regretted it. It never happened again. And it was another moment of, okay, Janicia, there's a common thread between this. This happened with two people at two points of your life when you are low. Because I was going through it again. It was a lot on me, depressed, not really in communication with God, not really spending no time with him, not really reading my Bible, not really going to church. Like, the same thing repeated itself. And it broke my heart because at this point, I thought I was better than that. I thought that I had finally got it. I feel like I understood. I knew what not to do, what to do. I felt like I let go of that old me that, walked away from God and tried to do it on my own. And it happened again. This time with the man that I want to marry. I had a big come to Jesus moment after that. And of course I repented because I was impure. I messed up again. I was still trying to fight the good fight. In my abstinence journey, I felt like I won the war, but I lost a lot of battles. I am not proud of how I behaved my entire time. I am not proud of what I did. Because for me, I never was abstinent because I hated men. No other reason was I truly abstinent but to please God, but to obey my father, but to keep the promise that I made him 12 years previous when I gave my life to God. And I was scared that I was pregnant, and I was like, Lord, if you help me get me out of this, I will serve you for the rest of my life. The only reason I was abstinent was from the promise that I made God 12 years prior. Of course, the added benefits was you don't catch diseases, you don't get babies that were not planned, a lot of things, a lot of soul ties, emotional connections, whatever. A lot of those things I avoided by way of closing my legs, but my main reason, my value, was to serve God, to obey God. It's like I went every way as close as the line as I could to keeping that promise. But I'm not proud of my heart posture at the last end of my abstinence journey. I think in the beginning, I was running off of fumes and fire, and I was sold out and committed to God. But when I became weary and depressed and going through all these emotional things, that I just dropped the ball. And I know that the person that I heard it was God. Though I preach abstinence, 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 I realized that it's a hard thing. I realized that if you do not watch what you expose yourself to, if you do not watch your heart, that's why I preach a lot about guarding your heart. Like, if you do not guard your heart, if you are not sold out to God, if you are not always in his presence, you will fall. No matter how super Christian you are, no matter how many Christian conferences you go, how many times a week you at church, no matter if you on a worship team, if you lead a solo on a worship team, no matter how many overseas outreaches you do, it does not matter. Every day you have to stay close to God, or you will stumble and you will fall and you will be like me. And you mess up a lot of the work that you put in and mess up your abstinence journey. And it's crazy because even when I was laying in the bed next to someone, when I was about to give in and be like, okay, this is the time I'm about to have sex because I'm just that hot and heavy, I want it, right? The amount of times that God came through and cut that out. It's like he allowed me to cross the line. Now, he didn't want me to. He allowed me to think I'm big and bad and cross the line. But he did step in and be like, okay, you're doing too much. Stop it. There was a specific time when I made up in my mind, I was like, this is the day I'm going to have sex. Because I was just like over it. I was frustrated with waiting. I was like, I just want to do it. I want to feel good. The guy that I was talking to at the time, because I only crossed the line with 2 people, but the guy that I was talking to at the time got something in his eye. Like literally, I don't know if it was lint, a piece of dust, dirt, whatever. I was literally in the bed about to, say, let's get it on. And something got in his eye where he had to get out the bed and run to the bathroom and look in his eye for about 10, 15 minutes trying to get this out. That was enough for me to snap out of it and be like, what in the world? Girl, you crazy. No, you're not finna do this. So I was crossing the line, but God, in his goodness, stopped me. He didn't stop me. He stopped the action from happening. And I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. That even in my slumber, even when I'm out of your will, even when I've crossed the line, you still have your hand on my life. You still keep me, even when I don't want to be kept. Because there was some times I didn't want to be kept, okay? I was ready to give it all. I was ready to let it go, okay? I was like, I don't care about no celibacy, abstinence journey. I'm finna get me some. God intervened and helped me. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to be open about what my 12-year abstinent journey was. It was not pure the whole time. It was not good the whole time. It was not righteous the whole time. It was on and off. It was a lot of things. And, I'm not going into specific detail because that is my business. I've done some things outside of penetration that I am not proud of. But I thank God in his goodness for keeping me and redeeming me. Even my whole life, even when I was actively having sex, when I was younger, before I gave my life to God, I thank the Lord that I didn't get a disease. Like, I lived in Jacksonville. At the time I was living there, it was one of the AIDS capitals of the world. Jacksonville, Florida. And the way I was busting it open. I didn't get AIDS. I didn't get gonorrhea, syphilis, I didn't get nothing. And I was a full-on Jezebel. I mean, I wasn't no prostitute, but I was getting it in. I crossed the line so many times, and I did not get pregnant. I know someone who had sex on their second time they got pregnant. Like, I don't know why I was kept from a lot of these things, and that's why I share so openly, and that's why I'm so passionate about this, is the grace of God that was on my life. And that if he saved me, I know it was for a purpose, so I can let women know and keep women from making mistakes. so that they can stay pure. And even if you weren't pure all the way up to last night, you can be today. It is no judgment on you, no none of that. I done messed up, okay? But God has a great plan for you. And he loves you and he values you. And he knows the best for you. And busting it wide open and opening your legs is not what he has for you. That man who is not your husband does not deserve your body. So if this video helped you in any type of way, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because I would like to see you more often. And go ahead and shoot me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you later.